LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
I have created
the most advanced AI soldier.
The wait is over. Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+.
We are looking for something you've discovered. And some of us will stop at nothing to get it.
Ready?
The countdown is complete.
There's no going back.
Our directive is clear.
Hang on!
Tron Ares now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. The top 14 Pro de Nationale Nibbles, the Six Nations, the French national team, Champions and Challenge Cups when they're back around, and of course the brilliant town cities, bars, restaurants, stadiums, fans, music, food, everything that we know we love about French rugby. Rob, it's Monday evening. The sun's been out in London today. How's tricks?
Well, I was actually ill over the weekend, so I barely left the flat. So quite nice today to be at least feeling a little bit better and enjoying a bit of the sunshine when I did go venture out. But yeah, this morning was a bit, I wasn't sure if it was kind of one of those ones like a little bit later, the alarm went off to kind of give myself full recovery. Am I going to go in? I did. I know people are grim.
What a hero.
Yeah,
incredible.
But yeah, that's
fair enough.
Yeah, so nice to get a bit of sunshine eventually. It's quite a nice day on Saturday, and I was outside the flat for about 15 minutes.
Oh well, I'm glad you're on the mend. Yeah, well, caught a bit of the rugby over the weekend. Went on this is incredibly niche. Went on a walking tour on Sunday of lost cinemas of Islington. I know that sounds like I've made it up, but it was a present. And it was bloody fascinating.
Was it for you or someone else?
No, it was a present that was bought for me and my wife. It's this guy who does a load of walking tours, and he was, to be fair, he was brilliant. Found out since he does a slow horses one, which obviously, if anyone's seen that's what it's about. I did also learn the first ever Crufts was in the Islington, the old Royal Agricultural Hall, which is like the big building that's by the Hilton, which is the Arsenal team hotel. But what we did get, because it was we were basically walking up Upper Street as like Arsenal and Chelsea fans were piling up to the Emirates, and just loads of like pissed lads going, oh, like, look, that's a skyscraper. Oh, welcome to London. Yeah, it was.
Any particular favourites on the, what was it, hidden or forgotten?
Well, it was kind of. There's
any new cinemas, any new Islington cinemas that you thought, oh, what a great cinema that was?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know the area, but there's a few. There was one which was. Oh, well, no. So the screen on the green, which is still there, which apparently is quite famous. The guy had been involved and still is involved in a petition to get a blue plaque for the lady who founded it, who I can't remember her name, so I'm doing her a disservice. But yeah, like really, extraordinary history of sort of bringing it. The Lumiere brothers of Lyon, who first sort of invented the cinema genre, were name drops. I was trying to think like how I could kind of squeeze in some reference. I don't know if they were Lyon Olympique Universitaire fans, I have no idea. But it was very interesting. Sometimes it's nice to be a bit outside your comfort and your knowledge zone. I was also just hoping they weren't going to ask me like what my favourite film was, and I was going to say Ali G in the House and lose the crowd. But there we go. But yeah, we'll part of that. We've got plenty to talk about on the pod today. We've got another great round of top 14 before a bit of a break. France v Scotland has come back round this weekend. Little touch on Pro Day de Nationale and some big signing news down in the third tier, which has piqued a bit of interest. And then Rob, I'm sure you've got some stuff in store for me beyond cinema history.
Well, if the big thing is, if we haven't lost you already, make sure you stay on to find out how Strictly Come Dancing and the TGV are linked. That's a little teaser for you at the end of the podcast. We'll explain all, and also we'll give off some trip recommendations, I think, or a kind of itinerary suggestion at the end of the pod.
Oh mate, I'm on tenterhooks here. So the weekend that was in the top 14, this was round 18 was it? So 8 to go by my dodgy maths before the barrage. Anything before we go through the games, anything that caught your attention? Toulouse are 12 clear at the top, which is quite remarkable, really, given maybe it isn't remarkable. They're an amazing side, but they're 12 clear after a fairly one-sided affair, as expected, against Montauban. But anything grab you this week, Rob?
I think that's one thing, is that like they are so far ahead, and everyone else, even on a weekend where lots of the teams else in the playoffs also won pretty well, they kind of still pull further clear in a way. It's just mad. Like there's just no catching them. They've pretty much got that locked in. I think it will be an absolute bun fight for some of those playoff places, because it's anyone's guess what's going to happen for the rest of the season. I think that's the one thing in 2026, and I know the first 3 months of top 14 action are always a bit fairly bitty, because you've got Champions Cup and you've got Six Nations and stuff like that. If you were to follow the thread, it's very up and down, like in the top 14 generally. And I think there's some decent, interesting narratives forming in the top 14, I have to say.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, Toulouse were clear. What it did mean was on Sunday night, which was live on Premier Sport, your boys Po, a fantastic win against Bordeaux in a game that I think we probably thought was going to be a little bit tighter than anticipated. Obviously, both sides without a few key men, but it looked really strong, didn't it? Across the board. I'm guessing you're a happy man. Section Powers march on.
Yeah, I was really happy, apart from the fact that in our predictions and in a few posts, I'd said that UBB would shade it, and then the messages from the lads were flooding in. I say the lads, a couple of the players were having a little pop at us for seemingly.
Well, I didn't go against my own team, mate.
Yeah, that's fair.
I should have done that.
Yeah, it was. I was actually kind of trying to revel in the glory of it a little bit more when I was bored at work earlier, and trying to see who else has prevented UBB from scoring that many points, or how does 17 points? That must be pretty low in terms of number of points that they've scored in a game. And I think Stad, they got 7 against Stad, is like small against. Basically, it's not that good. But it's quite impressive that they kept Bordeaux out for the final half hour. Is actually pretty impressive. I think, I was kind of looking for precedence or lack of precedence in some of the Bordeaux stuff, but actually there's been a few games this season where they've not done that much away from home with what on paper looks like a pretty good team. Like Clermont a few weeks ago, they'd come out of the Champions Cup absolutely flying, and then kind of didn't really offer that much, and it kind of feels a bit like that. Like for whatever reason, they just didn't quite click. And I think actually it was more about how well Poe played. It wasn't necessarily the story of Bordeaux were rubbish. Although Bordeaux they could barely get any front foot ball. I think that was because Poe's defence was exceptional, because Bordeaux had a full strength pack. I think it shows how much of a difference Jalabert makes. And obviously they were without BLBRA and Deporter as well. And Mofana was on the bench and come back from injury. But I think shows like Jalabert is a bit of a magician and can spark stuff from anywhere.
Certainly I don't think Maxime Luki's quite hit the heights he was at last season either. And I know he's been out with injury, so that's perhaps to be expected. But yeah, I'd agree with all of that. I mean, to be honest, I thought the first 50 minutes was really it was really exciting. It was competitive. I thought Bordeaux were well worth their, as were Pau. Pau were probably up to that point marginally the better side, but Bordeaux, I think it felt like it could crack open, and I thought Pau managed it so brilliantly, tightened up in the last half hour. Dan Robson was fantastic off the bench. Yeah. Both, obviously set up a try, scored a try, but also his box kicking was fabulous. And your man Axel Desperez had surely his best game in a Pau shirt. It just his kicking, his control was outstanding. It was an amazing performance.
Yeah, it was a brilliantly controlled, mature performance. And on a tweet, I think I referenced the equivalent game last year that I was at. I thought he was magnificent in that, but it's very easy to remember it for the BLBRA wonder try, but also he misses a drop goal towards the end that could have won it and could have changed the result. But other than that, he was brilliant and he had 2 games back to back where he managed it really, really well. But ultimately, the kicks that mattered, he missed, and they were kind of just narrow misses. Whereas this, it all fell for him really, and it all went to plan, and there wasn't that caveat at the end. It was just this guy's had a really, really good controlling game. I don't want to. I feel like I'm shoehorning this or forcing it a bit too much. But there are elements of his play that are George Ford-esque, and I don't know whether it's because of his stature, like he's tiny. But it's more the way that he covers the ground and just seems to be getting the ball in hand and covering backfield and kicking, being the man doing the kicks. He seems to be that guy more often than not. I think he's way off George Ford in terms of ability to take it to the line and delayed passes and stuff like that. But the way he kind of is able to be the man on the ball and do all the kicking is Ford-esque. I think Marcus Smith does it as well a little bit. You kind of see him just the engine on him just seems to be relentless. I don't know whether that's he was forcing the situation a bit.
He was very impressive. He was great. And outside him, it's a real shame that your favourite player, one of the brightest sparks in French rugby, the France starting 12 at the moment, Fabien Brobery, he's not going to have a berth when he gets back to Pau. Rhys Hewitt, like a man possessed.
Well,
after his first run out of 12, he's class.
Yeah, Dan Robson said that Rhys was one of those people that just goes for everything. And he is, I think he had about 30 minutes off the bench at 12, and then he's had 2 starts where he's been really, really good and really physical. I thought Nathan de Cron as well played. That's the best I've seen him play for a while since the kind of emergence of Brobery, really. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to know what your thoughts on it, because I will kind of come into it thinking, oh, that guy was great, that guy was great, that guy was great. I thought Gorgadze was excellent. And I feel like we've not seen that much of Gorgadze this season, but he's played 12 games, 12 starts, which felt like I was expecting it to be like 6 or 7. But he's been brilliant when he has started. The 2 games, the 2 big home wins, Bordeaux and Toulouse, he's been outstanding.
Yeah, for me, I think we've spoken quite a lot about Pau this year because they've been and Bordeaux, they've been so brilliant. I think the thing that would be encouraging if I was a Pau fan was the fact like they didn't have it all their own way at the line out. Like it was by no means a kind of Italy v France meltdown, but it's arguably their kind of strongest point and Bordeaux's weakness. And actually Bordeaux defensively were pretty good and spoiled really quite a lot of their, wasn't it? Yeah, Coleman it was
versus Ordu.
Spoiled a lot of their ball, which is really interesting. And the fact that they still came out on top and that wasn't all singing was really, really exciting for them. For Bordeaux, I think Yannick Brou after said they were beaten by the better team, which I don't think anyone can doubt. I still think there are 2 moments in the second half that sum it up, and there's just that. One of the reasons why we absolutely love them, I think, is just that slight fallibility to Bordeaux. One is after the concession, I think, of the penultimate Pau try, where like the chasers from the kickoff are all offside Po then go down the other end and score straight away, and you're like, that's, or the 50-22 comes from the scrum, I think, that Desperez nailed. And you're just like, that is utterly unforgivable when you're still loosely in the game. And the second was, and it's cool to see him back, and it didn't quite work out at Montpellier, but Mados Tambwe with a lovely bit of skill. And I think if he dotted it down, it would have made it like an 11-point game with about 10 minutes left. And you think...
I think it was closer than that. I think it's earlier on. I think that basically brings it pretty much... I think it takes like 26, 24 or something like that.
I think it was... Well, yeah, I thought it was a bit more than that. But I think it's within a score, or around a score. And he just gets it so horribly wrong. And it was... I think that was that moment, like, because of maybe we didn't quite get it through the crowd mics or whatever, but... How many times have we seen Bordeaux then like skin aside when they've come from nowhere, and for as good as Po were, I think there are a couple of key moments there that maybe a Champions Cup Bordeaux or how they played towards the end of last season might have pushed it a bit tighter. But the main thing I want to talk about is, which I think is probably the pièce de résistance, is one of the great prop tries.
I can't think of a better. I cannot think of a better try by a prop than Remy Seneca. It's the way that it's. I mean, everything always looks better with the left foot, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, that's point one, 100%.
But it's the way he like eyes it up. Like the ball is bobbling around, and it falls to him, and it's an intentional. I'm gonna kick it one way, round you the other, and then I'm through. The pace. I mean, there's no one really that quick chasing him back, but Gregoire Arfoy is chasing it with him and can't get near him. Like,
it's incredible.
Got a France Sevens player that is like matching it. He's matching stride for stride. It is such a good try. It's such a cool try.
You're so right. The left foot, I think, if we were a NAF football podcast, it'd be described as cultured.
Yeah.
But it's the way he, as you say, it slides past the defender and then rounds him on the other shoulder. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. A grubber kick is usually...
Other than Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Ryan Giggs, like... They're the only people you've seen do that.
Vieira, maybe. It was just, I don't know. Should have done. There must be some decent footballers who have come from Po over the years, but my God, it's something to behold. What a moment.
Someone pointed out there is some excellent work from Gregoire Foy to A, win the ball, B, keep his feet in play, and then he's kind of back involved as well with another pop. But yeah, just reveling. Yeah, I think that kind of summed it up as well. Yeah. It was funny seeing on commentary, Robbie and Mertz were like, that he's shown Mados Tambwe how to do it, which is quite amusing when a replacement loosehead is doing some of that. But it kind of summed up that Po tried, like, if stuff came off for Po, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it just, and it is fun.
Deservedly so.
It's fun to watch, yeah. He who dares wins, yeah.
Very much so. So Po regain their grip on second in the top 14, ahead of Montpellier, who have been going really nicely of late. They were pretty convincing over Racing.
The Sunday evening game has been a bit sketchy, isn't it, in terms of entertainment and drama. This one delivered and was entertaining, and I would say I even watched the highlights of this Montpellier game, and I still found it boring.
There's a great try by Gabriel.
It's so one-sided. Like, what they're doing is it's almost like the definition of it's not pretty, but
mate, the Ungandabe try is absolutely unbelievul.
Oh, it's just one quick bloke. Like, that's the only inventive attack.
Yeah, but it would be a boring league if everyone played like Bordeaux or everyone played like Po at the moment. You need some lorries. Just
but there's like, I don't know, like. I'm a Leicester fan, right? So I'm used to some very, very boring rugby, but at least like there was some sort of invention and stuff like that in some of the great Leicester teams that have been good but boring. Like, you know, even the England 2003 team was really boring, but they had Jason Robinson, so it wasn't, you know, like there's nothing. Who is the Jason Robinson or the Mani Nandolo, or, you know, it's not like they've got like a creative 10 that looks really good and slick. It's not like they've got like a George Ford. It's just like Miotti is just, it's not exciting.
They're third in the top 14. That's all they care about.
Yeah. Fair play to them. And they've got, in all seriousness, they are third in the top 14, but they've had quite a favourable run. First of all, they've had more home games than everyone else, apart from Toulouse, I think.
Have they?
They've had 10 out of 18.
Interesting.
Yeah, looking good for Montauban. They've only had 8 home games, so those remaining home games, that's where they're going to salvage it. But also they're running. They've got a couple of very easy fixtures in USAP and Montauban at home, but they go away to Clermont, Toulouse, Bordeaux, and Castres, which is not. And I think the timing of like those Bordeaux and Castres games probably doesn't favour them either.
The Toulouse one might be okay a couple of weeks, or at least not.
Yeah, if you get it sandwiched. Yeah, if you get it sandwiched
before the
between
Champions Cup.
So it's not. They're not. Yeah, they've done well so far, and they are doing really well. They are mightily effective, but yeah, I think they're not streaking clear. I think they'll make the playoffs, but. Yeah, I think other teams could easily overtake them.
Stade Francais were pretty comfortable over Perpignan as expected. Rob, a team that
sorry, I was distracted because I was on Instagram, and you can come at me with this later on when we do Pro de, but you predicted Montpellier to be 13th, which I found our top 14 predictions. Don't worry, excellent. I put Stade Francais 13th, so we're both doing excellently on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. There's still time. Didn't we both think Perpignan, this was their year to get in the barrage or something like that?
We both had them 10th.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you had La Rochelle second, so you're not doing that fantastically. You also had Bayonne 5th. So, yeah, there we go.
Well, there's still time, isn't there? Let's see.
Price is that end of season review of those predictions going to be an absolute car. I think we did better on the players. The league table. Oh, it's why top 14 is so good. It's so unpredictable. It's so competitive. You never know.
Right. Stade Francais, fairly straightforward. A team that you've also not been a huge fan of at points for their style of play role, Clermont, are going very nicely as well.
I'll take it all back. I'm in full reverse mode on Clermont. First of all, I thought they didn't have a proper fly half at the start of the season. I thought they'd made some pretty average signings. Harry Plummer has been
incredible.
If Jalabert didn't exist and wasn't having the season that he was having, I genuinely think Harry Plummer would have player of the season wrapped up already. He's been that good. He is just so good in every single game. Secondly, they have played some unbelievable rugby at home. They have played some really fun, exciting rugby, and they score about 3 wonder tries a game at home. It's phenomenal. They scored 2 within 2 minutes in this game. It was brilliant.
Scored a lot of points, haven't they? Been some big scores at home for Clermont. And Christophe Urios is he still on his press? He's self-imposed. He's not speaking to the media for a short period of time.
Is he not? I didn't know that.
I don't know if that's changed now that Clermont is starting to pull it together quite nicely. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I only caught little snippets of this, but they were just they look like a totally different team to some of the performances. I think their first home game of the year they lost to Toulouse, right? And looked really sticky. And you kind of, as you say, there weren't maybe those signings we didn't think at the time that perhaps a couple of other sides have made, and they've proven it's been a masterstroke, really, hasn't it? It's been an incredible signing. Who's the young replacement scrum half? I forget his name. Yeah, he was at
Saxby last year, I'm pretty sure, on loan.
Okay.
But Retuva as well has been another, that wasn't a particularly bloke that was in and out or not a name guaranteed starter at Brive. He's been really good as well. Thomas Sate was excellent again.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Tell you who has been good at Clermont, and thinking back to what Sam Lana said last week, is France don't have a really good ball carrying number 8. There aren't the big bruising number 8s. Salavasio Tolofua is having a very good season at number 8 for Clermont. He would I mean, I still wouldn't pick him in a France squad given the kind of all-round calibre of some of the other back rowers, but if they were looking for a big bruising number 8, he'd be up there in the queue because he's playing some great stuff.
Yeah, they've been really impressive. What's their running looking like? Are they?
Theirs is not quite as bad as Montpellier, but they have away games at Stade Francais, Toulouse, Pau, and Bordeaux.
Okay,
so it's not fantastic.
Yeah, there's going to be a huge amount of change still, isn't there? But
Yeah, yeah.
they very much don't have the distraction of Europe after one of surely the most abject showings, even for French teams in recent years. That was, yeah, looking back to some of those performances in the Champions Cup, it was quite something.
Well, the team they put to the sword on Saturday, who looked equally abject as they have done recently, Bayonne, like nothing, they just kept cocking it up. They conspired against themselves quite a lot. I was looking at this. So Greg Patat signed his contract extension to 2028 on like the 14th of October or something, the 18th of October. Their next game after he signed that contract extension was at home to Clermont, which they won, bear with me, something like 41-7 or something like that. At that point, Bayonne were second in the league with 5 wins from 7 after 7 rounds. They'd beaten Toulon at home. They'd beaten Toulouse at home. Absolutely flying, like new contract for Greg Patat. Amazing. From that point, they have won 3 games.
It's crazy.
And when you think of the performances included, so that's 3 out of 10 in the league, or now 3 out of 11, or between the contract extension and Greg Patat getting sacked, that's 10 top 14 games, which they won 3 and they lost the 4 Champions Cup games terribly. But they've gone from 2nd to 12th in that period. From a point where it's like, we've just beaten Toulouse, like we're flying, we're 2nd in the league, like playing some great rugby, new coach who players really like, has just signed a contract extension for till 2028 with all the speculation around, and then bang, off a cliff. It's just bizarre. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that tells you all you need to know about stuff going off the field. Like you don't even need it. We know because it's played out in the public largely that there's all sorts of stuff going on off the field. But yeah,
it's crazy, the whole situation. There's a really good shout out, Iltud, who was obviously on a couple of weeks ago, and his Substack in the week was sort of focusing on Bayonne's fall this year. Well worth a read if you haven't done so, if you're listening to this. As is, I don't know if you saw James Harrington's Le Rugby last week, which was with Jack Maddox.
Yeah.
Talking about his time at Pau, which is very cool. So, couple of, if this isn't enough French rugby for you, then get stuck in. But the Bayonne thing is such a shame as well. Like they're such a fantastic club, and Patat was seemingly so well liked by the players as well. Like the way Alex Moon spoke about him being such a brilliant kind of presence within what can be quite a chaotic environment if you're new into a French rugby club. It's it beggars belief really. But there we go.
Ahead of the weekend, I know there's a lot about Greg Patat potentially going to breathe. I thought I know the perfect club for Greg Patat, and they might be about to lose their coach as well. Well, maybe not anymore, because La Rochelle because he was forwards coach there when they got good, basically. Like in the years that La Rochelle,
his CV is ridiculous. He's been everywhere.
He was the forwards coach at La Rochelle before he got a head gig at Bayonne. I wouldn't rule out him going back to La Rochelle as the head man when Roger gets a sack. But this is La Rochelle. I was genuinely quite sad when I saw the result. I was like, oh, that's really sad for Castres.
It felt
I was tempted to bait you by wearing my La Rochelle t-shirt, but I've gone with my Castres t-shirt.
Yeah, you know what? With hindsight, I should have seen this one coming. So you had Castres coming in as one of the form teams over the last month or so, with some really eye-catching wins away from home. It was their 120th anniversary match, loads of fanfare, loads of events, like past players, full sellout at Pierre Fabre.
Team
La
sheet
Rochelle
on paper looked absolutely dynamite. Like it looked so good.
It was so well set up. La Rochelle haven't won one game all year, like the 5th of January.
Yeah.
Haven't looked like winning a thing.
Injury ravaged.
Bougarit was back. Bougarit goes down in the warm-up, which is awful because his luck with injuries has been as bad as anyone I can remember, just for persistence, and he's so key for them. But with all that in mind, should have seen that La Rochelle were gonna decide this was the one to do the business.
I asked you last week, and you were so confident, and you're never normally that confident. And I asked you that because I thought it's the sort of thing that happens. Is like these teams happens in every sport. Like these teams make these big showpiece, like celebratory events, and just cock it up,
shit the bed, basically. It was I watched it. It was it was an entertaining game. It was La Rochelle, like it must be said. Like there were a lot of, and the headline of this again was Castres in discipline. They had 3 yellow cards, 16 penalties. Like they are fair play. Some of the numbers they've been hitting in recent times have been
also like they
incredible.
went down to 13. It's not just 3 yellow cards.
Yeah.
Like you can almost guarantee with Castres, if they lose one to a yellow card, they've got a 10-minute window where they're gonna pick up another yellow card.
Well,
it's amazing. I'd love to know. I don't know how you'd have to trawl through the games, but I would love to know how many times in the top 14 clubs are down to more or fewer than 14, and Castres must be top of that.
I'd have thought so. I mean, when they beat La Rochelle at the Marcel de Flandre, they were down to 12 for 5 minutes in that game. They had three concurrent yellow cards. But it's just I think in this one, it's so easy to say like, oh, indisciplined, don't be so stupid. I think La Rochelle, it wasn't totally obvious, but I thought Bottier in particular and Aldred did a brilliant job of just making a total mess of the breakdown. There weren't loads of like really clear jackals, but they just did enough that the possession Castres had was never as kind of secure and as clean as they would have liked. And I think
that's kind of the one thing throughout
it.
All of this shambles at La Rochelle. The one thing that has remained consistent is how good they are at the breakdown. That's just about the one thing that has remained consistent.
They're kind of hanging in there. Yeah, and then for Castres, it just feels like they lacked a little bit of control throughout. And I think, like Arat is such an amazing player and so talented. There are times it just felt a tiny bit too frenetic in attack and in defence as well. Like they missed a lot of tackles, and it wasn't necessarily guys like missing a load of one-on-ones. It was people shooting out of the line. And it is in my head, I was like, in cricket parlance, this feels a little bit like when you're trying to take a wicket with every ball, and it's just like trying a little bit too much, a little bit eager. And I think a lot of the indiscipline then stems from that, because you build pressure, because you're a little bit disjointed. Because, the stats, they dominated at the scrum time, maybe to be expected with the injuries that La Rochelle have got. Didn't lose a scrum, won all 16 of their line-outs. La Rochelle
had 3, I think. Or
I think so.
3 or 4.
And La Rochelle had 6, 7, 22 entries and scored 31 points. So
wow,
they're incredibly clinical, and there's some lovely. They played some lovely stuff that way
in the highlights. Like from what I could tell, was that because a lot of Castres points came from penalties, right, and like territory, and stuff like that. Whereas like the La Rochelle's were. Yeah, it felt like a lot of the game was played in La Rochelle's half, but La Rochelle were always ahead on the scoreboard, which kind of suggests that they were just a little bit more clinical.
Yeah, and I think probably the pick of their tries was the first half one. The Garrick was very good in this as well, as he often is. The try for Jack Knoll, which was a lovely finish in the first half, but comes from a really sort of intricate dummy line and pot by Adrian Segare, who was basically kind of effectively released, wasn't getting much game time at Castres, with Petit-Fours and Goodhue and Carol Levu coming through. So there was a little bit of an irony in that. So Castres, for all their their bluster and having been pretty good in some away wins, have now lost 3 at home. And they are, well, amazingly, they're 13 points behind Po. Which feels like it should be more, given there's 7 places between them.
Yeah, although I still kind of go back to similar sort of thing that I said last week, is like there's some teams above them that feel like they shouldn't be, like it doesn't feel like they've had that much a worse season than some of the teams above them, like Racing, and like they're roughly level with La Rochelle, and it feels like they've largely had a better season. Well, they've got 1 more win, but it feels like they should be further ahead of La Rochelle, and more than 3 points ahead of Lyon, and like they should be level with Racing, but Racing have got 3 points higher, more than them. So I think, well, you say they're 13 points behind Po, but the big one is that they are 7 points off Stade Francais, because that's the one that everyone's fighting for, and there's for the first time, there's a little bit of daylight between 6th and 7th, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. But fair play to La Rochelle, like with some of the injuries, some really young guys as well. They were good value for it. Very impressive. I think we've missed one. Lyon-Toulon, a draw.
Toulon. Yeah, Martin Melion missing a penalty for a draw yet again. I feel like he's involved in a disproportionate amount of draws. or just last minute kicks that go one way or the other. Yeah, I mean,
incredible.
It's a bit. The initial thought is that 30. I mean, the first points in this game were a penalty on 39 minutes, which, yeah, I don't think it was a particularly good game. I saw Sam Simmons made the Midi Olympic team of the week, which I was watching the highlights. I was like, how has anyone from this game made a team of the week?
Carrying a lot of ball.
But yeah, Toulon, in a weird way, this is actually quite a good result because
they've got nothing on the road before this, right? They haven't won a game away from home.
Well, there you go. Yeah, like, you know, Lyon are actually in half decent form. They didn't send a particularly strong looking side. I don't think didn't look like the best Toulon team. And yeah, they've ultimately come away with it with a draw, which is not the end of the world. You know, their coaches are having a rest, a mental health break or whatever. He's kind of, you know, hopefully he'll be back at the end after the Six Nations. But yeah, it's not actually a terrible result. You kind of think, oh, Toulon, a way better team than Lyon. They hammered them at home, blah blah blah. But it's not. A dreadful
definitely.
Result.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
They've also done well to come out of it without Juta Wanakolo getting a hat trick against the club.
Yeah. That's out of respect, though. He would have been giving it the old, like, I don't think he would have been going full Adi Bayor, would he? I think it would have been a slightly more muted celebration, which is always. Someone did that in the top 14 recently. They weren't celebrating. Like, it's not often you see that in rugby, right? Someone not celebrating against their former club. And it happened recently. I can't think where it was.
There was one, I remember talking about it. There was one, Nolan Legarec did like a ash splash for when he went over a try, and then did like the full deadpan, no, I'm not celebrating. But I did see I think it was on the Top 14 English Instagram account recently, basically like the return of Warnicolo to Toulon, and it's like 3 minutes into the game and he scores a try. Or so it's really early on. It's definitely like first 10 minutes. And he scores a try. And he doesn't, you know, he looks up to the heavens and doesn't go mad. The try gets called back. So it's like, oh, brilliant. Like he's, you know, oh no, maybe he like concedes a try and then scores one. Anyway, this try gets called back and he's offside, like marginally offside or never onside. And actually, because of where it is in the pitch, it's like on his own try line, he actually gets a yellow card for it. So it's like
amazing.
It's like the perfect comeback. Everything has happened to this man within the space of 5 minutes.
Superb. We can probably leave the top 14 for a couple of weeks. Any closing thoughts?
Well, I was going to link it in to coming out of that game. 75 minutes, the penalty that Jaminet kick from about 45 that would have made it over from about 75 metres came from a blow to the head for Baptiste Saran, who went off with an HIA, but he is still in the squad for Marcoussis as far as I understand. But yeah, looking ahead to France, Scotland, I think there's some interesting selection decisions on there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not masses of change in the wider squad, right? There's Oradou, I hadn't realised, got a knock yesterday.
Yeah.
And is replaced in the squad by Cameron Waukee, and Demba Bamba's in for the perennially injured, unfortunately, Tatafu.
So he jogged off the pitch after half an hour. I think he was hooked. He got absolutely done by Akaladze at the scrum. He was going backwards. So I don't know whether he was carrying an injury already or he was actually hooked, but he jogged off the pitch against Clermont.
Maybe slipped over on his way off.
I was amazed to see him in the squad just because I was like, well, he's going to get injured again, isn't he? If he's not already injured, he's going to get injured. But with Montagne injured as well, with a neck injury, I mean, if Bamba makes the squad, Jesus, go on Scotland. Yeah, it's between, I think Aldegheri will probably start again, and then it's between Colombe and Leclerc, which will probably be a Colombe, right?
I would have thought so, based on
those are the only real movements. Legarec back in for D'Aubagne is the other big one. So no Luku still, but Legarec comes in, and I think if Saran doesn't make it with the HIA protocols, that's, you know, Legarec will be in. So yeah, I don't think there's anyone else.
I think he may be tempted to anyway, regardless. I think Gautier rates him very highly, doesn't he?
Which is really harsh on Saran. Yeah, Saran's been awesome.
Yeah, he has.
My big question for you, Richard, is who the bloody hell is going to play in the centres?
Yeah, this is
because they all played at the weekend. Like, well, the ones that were like, because Gorge played at the weekend.
Yeah, he played at 15, I think.
Played at 15 because they've got other centres. Just
crazy.
Centres coming out of everywhere. Shame Hewitt's not French.
Yeah, straight in. Reece Hewitt and Vuate Carol Levu would be that's like the fan favourite pairing. You know what? I don't know. My feeling is that, I mean, you've got 6 incredible players there.
Nene's been dropped. He's not even in the squad.
Yeah, not even in.
I don't know if he's injured because he didn't play.
Leo Barre. Interesting.
Yeah. He's got it. Barre's got some photos on.
he's always there, isn't he?
Is he the new Arthur Vanson?
Possibly, quite possibly.
Maybe Arthur Vanson should play a centre against Scotland. That would
be a nice touch. Yeah, that would be a nice touch. So yeah, I really don't know, because Murrayfield and Depoter were outstanding against Ireland. My feeling is that, as amazing as that Poe centre pairing are, I think Depoter is like the one that is, I'm not going to say head and shoulders, but he is the best centre.
Yeah.
And I think if he's fit, I think it all comes down to his fitness, because he hasn't played right since that Ireland game.
No, I wonder if he's got half an hour off the bench on Sunday.
I wonder if they'll. Would they mix it? Would they maybe go Brobery and Depoter? I wonder if they might stick as is.
I think if Depoter's fit, I think they would go Murrayfield and Depoter. However, Depoter is the one that we are least certain about the fitness of, and I wonder if they would go Brobery and Murrayfield.
Yeah, possibly.
And that is possibly what I would. I'll tell you what will happen. Tell you what's happening. I'll tell you what it will be right now. If Depoter is not fit, it will be Murrayfield and Barassi.
Yeah, could well be.
Which is madness. My view. I think Barassi's playing really well, but they love him.
Yeah,
and I think as a pairing, I would. Well, I'm biased, but I'd way rather see Brobery and as a neutral. I'd rather see Brobery and Garton. But
I also purely think I still don't think he had some good moments, but I don't think Gaetan has like nailed it down in the last couple of weeks. I think Brobery has been pretty much faultless.
Yeah,
like I think you know, and that's not like a dig at Gaetan. Like he's been fantastic, but Brobery is exactly what you want from from an international centre in those games against, you know, like I mean. You've got two. It's going to be a hell of a test, right? Compared to,
and I wonder if that might play into why they might go Murrayfield and Barassi. I hope Depoter is fit, because I would love to see. Well, Richard, I was thinking about this. We called our For All Things Rugby when we were doing the submitting for the reel. We called out this game as the probable game of the tournament. We were quick to dispel the Grand Slam decider. We got that one right. Throw enough mud at a wall, some of it will stick. But we also called Nicolas Depoter as the potential player of the tournament. And I think this would be. I'd love to see how he would go against Hugh Jones and Tony Tuipulotu. I think you've also as much as I love Brobery, Murrayfield is the first choice 12, isn't he? And
rightly so. Yeah, the last 12 months for France, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, well, he missed the autumn, but he was, in my view, I think he was France's best player last 6 Nations. So I hope Depoter is fit, and if he's not, I'd be happy to see Brobery at 13. I'd be happy to see Gaetan at 13. Be happy to see Gorge at 13. I'd understand if they went Barassi at 13.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Like just it's remarkable how that.
Gail Fickou scored at the weekend from it was a Miotti own try. Sorry, I just completely forgot about that. Yeah,
Gail Fickou's
yet another own try that's not getting anywhere near our shortlist because it's just passing it on the floor isn't good enough these days.
Are we scribbling these down somewhere?
Yeah, I just need to make sure they're all in. Somehow I'm going to collate all of our podcast notes from. I keep it on about 4 different mediums. So yeah. Any other big selection matchups, big things like that? Jalabert should be back fit, right?
Yeah, hopefully. And you would assume he goes straight back in, unless there's any, as you say, fitness worries. Otherwise, I think the rest picks itself, assuming everyone's available.
You go Flammonde Murrayfield again?
Yeah, I probably would, which seems ridiculous given given how good the others were, but it worked so well against a physical pack. I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't think it really matters. I think they're getting so much out of those 4 locks at the moment, whether they're playing in the back row or in the second row. It's an incredible position to be in.
I think I'd keep it the same. I think Scotland's like with Cummings there is like their maul game should be better than what they've faced so far, including Ireland, including Italy. And so I think you'd want Flamon and Miafu in there. And also because Scotland in that area, the back 5 of the pack with the injuries as well. I think Dempsey might actually be fit again, but don't necessarily have the depth because there's a few injuries in the second row. They don't quite have the depth. You then, in the last 20 minutes, you unleash Giard, Olivon, and just get those guys to grind Scotland down, because the physicality is something that Scotland still lack a little bit. Up front anyway.
Yeah, the area will be really cool to see how it pans out. Obviously there are injuries for Scotland, but Rory Darge has been fantastic, hasn't he, as he always seems to be, and a lot of pace at the breakdown, like him. Jegu, do we see sort of the cross and Jalanche to the fore? And I just think it's really nicely set up. It could be a cracker.
Because if you've got Richie in there, Richie and Darge, that'd be the real test of like how good this back row is at retaining ball and not letting Jackal.
Proper spoilers.
Yeah. From a Scotland fan perspective, I hope, and I'm not necessarily basing this on too much recent form or anything like that, I would hope that we start with a back 3 of Steyn, Kinghorn, Van der Merwe. I'd be happy to see Cousin Darcy in there ahead of Duan, but I think the kind of under the high ball, I think Steyn up against Bielbiere could be an area for Scotland to target, I think. And then I think Kinghorn still, I don't think anyone is dominating the airways in this Six Nations because the contestable kicks have been so big, but I'd back Kinghorn over most still. And I wonder if they might get a bit of joy under the high ball, and where France have lived off these scraps, maybe with Carstein and Kinghorn, they might not get as many scraps. So Scotland can get the win there.
As easy as that.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, it should be awesome. What is Saturday, right? Saturday
afternoon.
Is it the late kickoff?
No, it's the early one. It's Ireland-Wales on Friday evening.
Oh, and then Sunday is the England-Italy game, isn't it?
No. They've given everyone a 7-day ahead of Super Saturday. So you've got one Friday and 2 Saturday games.
Okay. Got you. That does make sense, in fairness. Okay. Well, looking forward to it. An eagle eye out for that centre pairing as well for France. It should be very exciting. Right, we'll park it there. We'll come back in a moment for a bit of Pro Day there and a few Petit-Fours.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
Sports Social Podcast Network, the biggest voices in sport. Let's take a look at some of the lineup. Under the cosh.
Anything you do different in management?
I'd probably get a better pitching saipan.
Let's be having you.
I love the fact that he's chosen that moment to go, do you know what? Now I'm going to do it.
The England pod.
If he plays regular minutes this season for Manchester City, he will re-emerge as one of the best players that we've got.
All on Europe's biggest sport podcast network. Find your next favourite sport podcast. Search Sports Social Podcast Network and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Verified comparison at content.sport-social.co.uk/comparison.
Okay, if you're new to the podcast, this is the part where it gets serious. We're going down the leagues as ever. Quick stop off in third tier Nationale. Some fairly hefty signing news, Rob, that I saw in your notes that did garner a fair bit of attention on social media as well.
I don't know what to make of this because I haven't followed his career, but Narbonne have signed Aplenty, who at one point was basically going to be the best player in the world and was awesome when he burst on the scene and seemed like a kind of, to the manor born. He kind of said all the right things, and then he tested positive for some sort of drug, steroids, I think. And I haven't followed it since then. And that we're going back kind of 8 years now to when he was World Rugby Young Player of the Year or whatever he won. I haven't followed his career much at all, but I remember him being unreal. And I don't know where he's been. Well, he may have ended up as a 2019 World Cup winner, right? He was in the South Africa squad ahead of like
Mapimpi,
yeah,
which is crazy. So I think he got a pretty long. I think he denied allegations, but he did get a pretty sizable ban. I think he's played for the Sharks and most recently the Bulls, but I don't think he's been playing a huge amount.
Yeah, so he last played for South Africa in 2019 when he was at the Lions. And then he's got a 4-year gap because I think it was an initial 2-year ban, and then I think he got another 2 years for something. He received a 4-year ban from All Rugby, and then he moved to the Sharks after the ban. But he's not played. He's played hardly anything in the last few years, like under 20 games probably.
Yeah, I mean it's incredibly exciting. It's very cool, and I love having cameras on Nationale.
31.
It's in his prime.
Yeah,
it's in his prime. What I am hoping for is some footage of just some absolutely outrageous goings on, like length of the field tries, that sort of carry on.
Yeah.
But it's also not the first time. So Narbonne, their game actually the weekend was cancelled against Tarbes, who have, I think, now are done for the season, right? That they filed for bankruptcy.
They filed for bankruptcy, yeah. The professional outfit is gone effectively from that. The amateur club, it's one of those ones where professional outfit gone, amateur club remains.
Hopefully
I don't know what
they
that
can
means.
rebuild at some
point.
point.
Retain their 2 Brenner Shield victories. That doesn't get I don't think that gets wiped or anything.
No,
like that, but,
I don't think so.
That is a club that has won the Brenners twice, which is 2 more than La Rochelle ever have done. So put that into context. And obviously the formative club for the future current global superstar of French rugby, Fabien Robbery.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's going to be recent because he's young.
Plenty of, a few eyes on Nationale then, which remains tight at the top as it has done. I think Albi is still top.
You sure
they
about that?
Just tucked in behind Nice, maybe.
Nice won on the road, didn't they, against someone at the weekend? I know Albi are top still. Oh, by miles, 5 points.
Yes.
Having beaten Marcon Barruel away. Nice beat Suresnes away.
Right.
So few away wins.
We'll keep an eye out for Petit-Fours. Yeah,
I think that's next
that.
season. I think that's next season.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not an end of season one. Oh, that's a shame. Would have been. This is obviously Narbonne as well, the club that signed Tanguy Naiyaravoro not that long ago, a few seasons back. So big name wingers are clearly a thing down there. Anyway, Pro D2 last round started off with some pretty entertaining fare actually. The Angoulême, which I hadn't realised as I messaged you the other day, building a new stand, such as the demand for rugby in the Charente, which is very cool, against Valence.
17-13 doesn't sound like it was a good game, but it was. It was really good fun, this game. I now, for the life of me, can't remember why it was such good fun, but it just was. It was a classic, like, crowd on the backs. The snail obviously got the Shanzi. The snail was doing a lot of dancing pre-game, and he clearly, the snail, for anyone that isn't aware, is the mascot. The big purple snail is the mascot of Soy Angoulême. He got them going, but the crowd were getting into the ref at basically everything. It was proper, it would have been 4,000 or 5,000, but it sounded a lot more. But I thought Soy Angoulême were the better team, or much better than the scoreline. The gap was much bigger than the scoreline suggests, which given that they also scored a penalty after the buzzer to make it 4-point margin, suggested it was very, very tight, but it felt like they were the better team generally. I think Valence got off to a big start, didn't they? And didn't score a point after like 25 minutes or something.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they went 13-0 up quite quickly, and that was, or maybe did they nab a penalty in the second half, went 10-0 up. Either way, yeah.
No, they didn't score a point in the second.
And it felt fairly inevitable at some point it would go that way, but I still thought Valence, had moments, and they play with a bit of freedom. It was also a massively changed up team.
Yeah.
Quite a few guys on debut.
They were the one team that really changed up this week.
Yeah.
A lot of sides sent really strong away teams, but they very much were not that.
Yeah. Which at the time I was a bit like, oh, maybe that, is that a winnable one? Probably pretty happy with the losing bonus point. Their run in the last 8, I think, is genuinely quite interesting. They have 5 home games out of 8, but all of them are against the rest of the current top 6. Whoa. So they have to play Van next, and there's the break, Oyonnax, and then they've got home games against Colomiers, Brive, and finish at home to Provence, with away matches at Grenoble, Nevers, and Dax sprinkled in.
Oh.
So it's sort of a bit of a...
that's not... Well,
Nevers,
I think anyone's happy playing Nevers anywhere at the moment, but up until Christmas. Maybe they'll have a resurgence at the back end of the season, but Dax isn't a place you want to go. Neither is Grenoble this time of the season.
No, but interesting in the sense that they, opportunity as well. Like you win a couple of those home games, give them against the position against the teams around you, and it sort of almost counts for a little bit more. So I think that's a really interesting one for them.
They're also 10 points clear of 7th.
Yeah, which is a decent gap.
6th, so they're going okay.
Got a bit of breathing room.
You mentioned a few new faces. They've got something like 3 or 4 of before going into this round, I think it was 3 out of the top 5 most minutes played in the league, and none of them played, including obviously Lucas Meret, who is just amazing.
The man.
But Tom Ross, former Nice man, former Waratahs,
and Brumbies, I think,
yeah, on his first game since joining over the summer. That's quite a long wait, but he was amazing. He had a proper barnstormer over debut, like chewed up we know that there's some question marks over the Swangaland pack, but I mean, he properly chewed him up at scrum time. Trying to think who else. And did anyone particularly impress you? I thought Labar in the second row was impressive. Oh no, I was about to say Coleman. It's not Coleman. Arnold in the second row was...
Yes.
It looked like a proper... He's captaining now, and he looks like a proper leader, doesn't he? But I thought the young halfbacks looked pretty good again. Escoffre and Burgess. Like, there's definitely some talent there. But obviously it was the main man off the bench to slot a couple of kicks. Benny Botts. Yeah,
nice to see, given his injury problems. That's always good to see. Friend of the pod, Ben Botka.
Yeah.
The guy who I thought had quite a good game, and certainly the bits I saw, and I wasn't giving it my full attention, was he was actually on debut in the centres for Valence, Dorian Marceline, with a hell of a lid on him as well.
Yeah.
Just looks, I mean, nothing particularly complex about it. Powerful.
He was active, wasn't he? He was busy.
Yeah. Willing would be another little cliche I'd throw in there. I enjoyed all of it, I must say.
I also really enjoy watching Mamadou Mete play. He's a baller. I just love watching him ball in hand. And his darts are pretty good as well. So, and the scrum went better when he was on, which is quite
second half they got
Motu Matuyu is an absolutely enormous unit, but to come on for him, so he's clearly he doesn't look the biggest mate, but he's got so much. But he's bumping people off and stuff like that. He must have so much power. I just enjoy watching him play.
Yeah, definitely. All right, what else happened in Pro
talking of other podcast guests, friends of the pod that are amazing left-footed goal kickers in Pro D2 that have struggled with injuries. Do you see the news? See what Sam Davis put up on his Instagram the other day?
Yeah,
quite remarkable.
Yeah, he picked up a really serious infection, and has been because I know obviously he had a game back, was it?
Yeah, it was his first game back. He got grazed down at I think it was Maurice David against Provence.
Yeah,
and it got infected, and it's he said he's been like properly laid low, like some of the worst pain he's ever had. Bearing in mind he fucking dislocated a shoulder back end of last season. Yeah,
sort of. It's horrible to hear. Like, what a season for him. And also, this may sound ridiculous, but Sam Davis and I have succumbed to exactly the same thing.
I did wonder if it was.
I myself was unlucky enough off. It wasn't the Stade Maurice David. It was a 5-a-side pitch in Bermondsey, which is probably more likely to have had something on it that would cause me some issues. But yeah. I mean, that's where the parallels end. There was, I did have to go. I spent quite a lot of time in hospital, and it wasn't very nice. But I hadn't played against Provence at 10 beforehand, so. But yeah, I mean, it's just horrible to hear. Like, what of all the things to happen as well after coming back, like that much rehab and things, like. Yeah, fair play to him.
So, like, he's got a really nasty scar on his shoulder from where it's like the surgery's happened. So, if you're going to get it, like, to have avoided infection from that, like getting opened up like that, you know, there is the inherent risk in surgery that you get infected, and he's managed to avoid that. And then first came back, not George North running down your channel, not Inga now, or
someone's
like
lobbed a dodgy oyster from the Provence. Oh, there you go. I got ill in Provence as well from a dodgy oyster. There must be a third parallel in there somewhere.
Bad things come in threes.
What's the other one? Oh, we'll wait and see.
Don't go skiing anytime soon, Sam or Richard.
Oh, dear.
On a serious note, though, Grenoble won, didn't they?
I think they did. They beat, away at Nevers by a point. There were some real tight ones. Carcassonne, who kind of nipped past Aurillac. I've got to say, I think the bottom of the league is now looking like it's going to be, I think there's like 10 points between, 5-6 teams at the bottom?
It's the team that have been sucked in badly.
Yeah, and the
Nevers are probably not out the woods, are they? Like, they're 7 points ahead of Mont-de-Marsan, 10 points ahead of Carcassonne.
And I mean, they're the team most on
the slide.
On the slide, which obviously is great news for those involved. But in terms of the neutral relegation battle perspective, it hasn't always been that interesting in recent years. So yeah, it's hotting up quite nicely.
There was actually some mad games this week in Pro D2 because Grenoble, well, there was that 1 point win for them, which was a last minute try and conversion, or over the 80 try and conversion. There was the Johnny McPhillips got an 82nd minute penalty to win at Carcassonne. You had Samuel Marquez clocking the red from long range to beat Oyonnax. Oyonnax losing by 1 point
again.
This time. Again, clocking the red from a late penalty away from home. That is 5-6 times now.
Yeah, I mean their last 4 away games, they've won at Angoulême and then they've lost by a point in all of the rest, which is like, wow. It's just extraordinary.
Even the bit like Brive Dax looks like a comfortable win, but that was 24-all with about 15 minutes to go. It was 27-24 with 10 minutes to go, and then Dax got a yellow, and Brive obviously just. But I think Brive also got a bonus point from that, getting to 48-24. So fair play to them. But Brive picked quite a weird one for the team selections, because you saw Argennes looked really strong against a really strong Provence team, and we'll probably come on to that a bit more. But Oyonnax looked like a proper side that they sent to Béziers. Dax sent a really strong side to Brive, and Brive didn't look that like they didn't have all of their big guns playing. They looked fallible, and for 70 minutes of that game, it would have looked like they really were fallible. Some fascinating fixtures in Pro D2.
Yeah, and the one I don't think we mentioned there was big statement win by Argennes away at Provence as well. Which brings them very much, not that they were miles behind, but within touching distance, 3 points behind Brive in 6th. And I think they play Carcassonne next week, Argennes. So
they do, and Brive go somewhere hard. They go away to Colomiers on Thursday.
Yeah, wow.
That is the FR UK game. So Argennes could well overtake Brive in this round. So Brive would drop out of the top 6.
Interesting. What do you reckon? That'd be a good one to keep an eye on. Brive they've kind of went okay.
Are they
in
good
their
at the
last
moment?
game
I
at
don't
Grenoble.
know.
I don't know. I honestly, it's so hard to. Yeah, the fact that they appear to have had, to all intents and purposes, a pretty horrible season, and yet are still in 6th.
Well, they've won half their games, which isn't that fantastic.
Well, not for that big a side.
11 wins and a draw from 22 games is not particularly impressive, is it? They're 30 points behind Van.
Not when you've got the biggest operating budget in the league, no.
Yeah.
30 behind Van, is it?
30, yeah.
Oh my God.
Van, who could, although it's an interesting one, there's a home, Valence Romans are, sorry, I'm now looking ahead to next week. Valence Romans have a 100% home record. They are hosting Van, so that's on the line. But if Van were to win that, I think they are then qualified for the top 6 by my maths.
With 7 games to go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
They've marched on somewhat. But Colomiers Brive I'd say it should be worth a watch. They I feel like
Brive could win that, because of the
slight Achilles heel. Yeah,
up
could
front
could be nicely set.
I hope Colomiers win. I want Colomiers to finish second. I feel like they deserve it with all those away wins. I know they didn't have quite all of their big guns playing away at Van, and Van racked up another bonus point victory at home. But yeah, outside of that disappointing away result, to have seven away wins out of 11 is phenomenal. They should give them second place now, just for that.
It should be anointed. Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to catching some of that on Thursday. Okay,
I'm intrigued to see when FI UK do a double up. I feel like a Valence from this week would be a good one if you did if they were to, it'll be out after the Six Nations, but because there's far too. There's also the Ireland game on Friday, isn't there? But if they were to double up, I'd be interested to see Valence Romans hosting Van. That'd be quite a fun game to watch.
Or on the return, I think the Thursday is Provence Colomiers, which should be good, and then
that will be on FI UK.
Give it a watch. Should be a lot of fun. What are the last games of the season? I'm getting ahead of myself. No, let's not skip to the finish yet. We don't know what's going to happen. Okay.
The only thing I know about the last game of the season is that Po host Montauban on the final day. So
oof.
In top 14. But yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
there we go.
For another time.
Back in a sec. A couple of Petit-Fours. Rob, Petit-Fours Digestifs, anything that's caught your eye this week away from the game itself that you want to call out? You mentioned you've been doing a bit of travel agenting on the sly.
Yes, I had mapped out a very fun, exciting itinerary that involved quite a lot of travel for very little time and cost, thanks to the wonders of the TGV. But yes, the final weekend of March. If you are interested, get in touch and I will happily set out the potential plans. But as we were just talking about there, the Thursday night game is Provence hosting Colomiers, which is a huge game in Pro D2. You then have on the Friday evening, Valence hosting Oyonnax, which is a little bit of it's a regional derby, I'd say, not a proper derby, but is also a huge game in the playoff race as well. And then on the Saturday, just up the road from Valence in Lyon, you have Lyon hosting Union Bordeaux-Bègles, which is obviously a fun game. And Lyon's a fantastic place. You could, if you really want, go to Macon on the Sunday to take in 4 in 4. But that sounds like a lot. But as you've mentioned before on the podcast, Richard, Provence or Aix-en-Provence to Valence is not a long way on the TGV. It's an hour and 20 minutes, and it's about, when I was looking the other day, it was less than €30, I think, or it's about €30 each of those TGV trips. So you could fly to Marseille or you could fly to Lyon, and you can easily get to Provence for that Thursday night game, and then easily go from Provence to Valence on the Friday and take that in, and easily go from Valence to Lyon on the Saturday. So you're taking an hour to an hour and a half train each day, but it's relatively inexpensive and it's relatively quick. It's not that far. And also the times are quite convenient, crucially. And you're watching some cracking games in that. Tickets-wise, there were, when I checked on Friday, tickets available for Provence. They were selling out fairly quick, but they were cheap. They were about €13, €17, something like that. So, and then I think Valence was similar sort of prices, but plenty more available. They weren't on sale yet for that specific game. And Lyon, you'll be easy to get tickets because their stadium is massive and they don't care that much.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I say they don't care that much. They care very much about the après, which is what we're all here for. Yeah.
There's excellent public service broadcasting. That's a hell of an itinerary. You could also, I've noticed, I think you mentioned this separately to me, Rob, you could, if Lyon's a bit mainstream, you could go down to Nationale and go to Bourgoin, which is about 25 minutes, 30 minutes on the train outside of Lyon-Pardieu, which is not very far at all.
Little bit tricky because you'd have to come in and go back out. if you really want to go niche, you could go and watch Stade Metropolitain, which is in the outskirts of Lyon.
There you go.
And I've now lost the time of that game, but I think it's 6:30. So you could, in theory, go from, not that you would do this because you should soak up the après at Stade Gerland, but if you just want rugby, you could go from Stade Gerland to Stade Metropolitain on the Saturday and watch another game of rugby. But or if you want to sack off the Lyon game and just go and watch Nationale Nibbles, then there's your option. And I teed it up at the beginning. What links that to Strictly Come Dancing? Well, I planned that out. We have obviously entered a new month today, flipped over the calendar, completely forgot that weekend I'm going to watch Kinky Boots featuring Johannes from Strictly Come Dancing. That is one of my Christmas presents. So as much as we were mocking your cinema tour earlier, Richard, yeah. I thought you said Kinky Boots is meant to be very good. And I very much look forward to it. And I can't wait to see Johannes in Kinky Boots.
I'm pleased for you. I'm glad you get to see one of your heroes in action. Fantastic, great. Well, maybe ahead of next week, we'll plan out. I know we've mentioned it once or twice, but there are some overlaps with the Champions Cup games, right? I think like Colomiers might be on the cards for Bristol fans going to Toulouse, so we'll map that out. Gives any regular listeners a few weeks to plan an extra day for your trips out to France.
And I'm hoping some point soon we will get the dates confirmed for Derby weekend, because that is coming up middle of April, so not far away now for some of the best doubleheaders, because you can bucket them together and do minimal travel for multiple output and best atmos.
Very nice. Final thing I wanted to raise, Rob, because it has been doing the rounds. We've been talking about it. Everyone's been talking about it on social media. Somewhere between you remembering you've got West End tickets and me wandering listlessly around an old cinema building that is now a Londis. Adidas released an incredible, truly beautiful range of kit that I believe will be worn by the France team at the Stade de France against England. The 120-year anniversary of Le Crunch. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you've been doing. How you've ended up listening to this rugby podcast and not seen this, like, fair play to you. It's just, I don't know what more you can say. It's just phenomenal kit. It's so well designed. It's so cool. It's outrageous. I'm dumbstruck.
I've seen some dissenters saying that it's not the original crest. The cockerel didn't come in until 1912 or something. But it was, interestingly, the original crest was 2 Olympic rings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is quite niche. And you've ordered it. I was due to have... Yeah. I've got the T-shirt, which was due to arrive today, but our buzzer doesn't work. Our intercom buzzer doesn't work. So basically, we can never get anything delivered. It's like a constant battle with DPD and Royal Mail and Yodel. But yeah, I was hoping to wear it today. But
yeah, I did splash out.
You've got the whole hog though.
I've got the long sleever pretty early onto it, but I've received no confirmation of dispatch, delivery, anything. So I feel like it might have ended up in the ether somewhere. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have, as I was telling you, Rob, I've had to clear out a load of stuff, and I felt for the first time in a long time I could just about justify another piece of clothing. So that'll be pride.
I'm sorry, but that is the gym equivalent. That is the rugby stash equivalent of the person that goes to the gym and then eats chocolate cake because they've been to the gym. Like, that's basically what you've done there.
Yeah, it is. And I've got no issues with it at all.
Okay, cool. Just making sure you're clear on that.
I'm very clear. I know what I've done. Right, let's wrap up. Rob, where can people follow us if they want to hear more, see more? I was going to say learn more.
At Rosbeast Rugby.
Not that.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. I've set myself mentally, I haven't even aired it with you, Richard, but I'd like us to get to at least 500 subscribers on YouTube before the end of Six Nations, or even 1,000. Dream big. If we can get to 1,000 on Instagram and YouTube by the end of Six Nations, that'd be cool. So if you're on YouTube, even set up an account. If you don't have it, just subscribe. You don't have to watch anything. Just subscribe. I mean, it's all going to be repeats of this anyway. It's not. Yeah. There's more. There's original content going up there the whole time. But yeah, we are at Rosbeast Rugby on all social media. So if you don't follow us wherever you don't follow us, and set up accounts so that you do follow us. I don't know if that's begging a bit much, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe leave it at that. But yeah, if you can, we appreciate it. Get in touch, rosbeastrugby@gmail.com. DM. Love hearing of trips and plans, and yeah, we've set a few people off on some decent. I think a couple of stag do's recently have been in touch around some trip planning. So always very willing and happy to help out with those. I think otherwise that's probably us for another week.
Yeah,
I'm going to wait at home for my France shirt to arrive and
peeping through the curtains.
Get delivered by someone. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. I really hope it turns up, otherwise I'm going to be gutted, but never mind. Anyway, that's been Rob. I've been Richard. We've been the Rosbif Rugby podcast. Enjoy Scotland, France for another week. Goodbye.
Au revoir.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
With Car Guru's Discover, you can skip the filters and describe what you're looking for in your own words. Simply type what you want, and Car Guru's Discover instantly surfaces real listings that match your exact needs. It's no wonder Car Guru's is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CARGURUS.com. cargurus.com.